And as always, powered by StreamYard. All righty. Well, I think we had a little bit of a technical issue to start things off, which, Joe, that seems to be a case and study here at StreamYard sometimes, but that's all good because we are here back on this Monday, and we are without two of our colleagues right now. I mean, Corey Fav's still on his honeymoon, still having a great time out in Hawaii. Tom's running a little bit behind right now, two-time dad action. So we're allowing him some time to come through. So, Joe, it's just you and I tonight to start things off here at Empire State.
Yeah, it just means that people have more time to listen to me speak, which is great. It's great for everybody.
Horrible for business.
So, because we all know that I have the most important shit to say. So you guys get more time with me, and that can't be a bad thing in my mind. So.
Well, Joe, if you think about it this way, this is just the folks that you hear constantly on your X Spaces for those that are checking in early here at Empire State of Baseball. So we just take the conversations over to Spaces and just the live streams right now because we know Tom ain't joining that shit anytime soon. But but Joe, listen, man, it's nice to be inside for this episode of ESB as we always are because it is hot as hell outside in the tri-state area. Looking like it's going to hit 100 degrees tomorrow. I mean, it's getting ridiculous out here. And the only thing we wish that could get as hot as the weather outside is our own New York baseball teams.
Suffocating heat. And this is just, this is par for the course. And then it's going to be like 75 on, I think it's Thursday. So we're going to go from 100 degrees to 75. That's how people get sick.
Easily.
So I'm not looking forward to that at the moment. But yeah, I mean, listen, we'll see what happens. At the moment, I'm keeping my ass inside. I'm cranking my AC up to like 64 degrees. So for me, I'm keeping this place an ice box until they shut my power off. That's what
Joe, it's a little quiet over there. Is our favorite cast member VSB asleep right now?
No, he is not here. He is with his grandparents down in Freehold. So wow. Dad gets a break for the night. He's going to be down there. So this is one of those things where we get rare night off. He would be here, but he's been really loud lately. So he's been squeaking and screaming, and he's learning how to make all these noises. Really kind of a fun time, but also a time where like he does not stop making noise under any circumstances. So.
Amen to that. Shout out to our guy, Teddy, and the entire Pugliese family. But shout out to our chat as well. Let's check into the chat. Very hot chat to start things off. We're not even a couple of minutes in, and we're still a co-host or two behind here. Mike Pars, please. Oh, boy. Players don't matter. ESB has 4 all-stars of their own. Shout out to our guy, Pars. This one checked in at 10:22 in the morning. Pars doing God's work right now, making sure people's power don't go out. So shout out to our guy Pars from afar. Our guy, look at Corey. Aloha. Corey shouts out at 7:33 p.m. our time. I don't even know what that is for Hawaii time. Do we know Hawaiian time there, Joe? What do you think? It's like, it's got to be like.
I think it's 5 hours. So I think it's about 3:00 in the afternoon, if I had to guess.
Oh, okay.
Right
so
now.
Hopefully they're enjoying the rest of their Monday evening. If it's Monday over there, again, I have no idea what the hell, what time zones are when you leave the States. So shout out to our guy, Corey Favs, enjoying a fantastic honeymoon. Our guy, Jacob Petruzzi as well. Smack that like and sub button for the fellas on your way in. Really appreciate it. Christy Evans, part of the ESB family. The cavalry is here, Joe. Joey Bag of Donuts goes, the Cider Boys are here. Shout out to Joey, host of the Morning Drive. Our guy Swift as well. Hello, Richard and Joseph, using formal names here. I see JoJo's in the building.
Oh, God, with JoJo.
Please let Joe know his Mets are disgustingly bad. Acuna, I don't even know what this says. What does this say? I don't even know. But Acuna, some Morse code and Soto. So shout out. I think he's trying to say Acuna over Soto. My assumption.
That's wild work coming from a guy whose team is 6 games under 500. So
Jordan Tyler also shout out to Jordan. Jacob goes, why do I feel like Joe's ballot, Lugo going to be starting the All-Star game? Well, to be fair, the ballots as is, and I still don't know why MLB doesn't allow you to pick a starting pitcher for the All-Star game. And I get it. Like, you got to look at the rotations. You got to see who's pitching this Sunday, who's hurt, whatnot. But I feel like, Joe, that's something that can be voted on. And if the managers have to make an adjustment, just make an adjustment.
Yeah, it's weird. I know a lot of it is based on the pitcher schedule and when they're going. And if all the fans vote for this one pitcher and he doesn't end up pitching at the All-Star game, that's a very odd problem that baseball has every single year.
But it works. But it works with a starting lineup. If Aaron Judge, for whatever reason, can't make the All-Star game, God forbid, I can't believe I even used him as the example there. They'll just replace him on the roster, and I feel like why wouldn't the manager just replace the starting pitcher that gets voted on if that pitcher can't realistically make it?
Yeah, I don't know the exact justification for not voting for the pitchers. I guess the fear is they have a pitcher that's clearly inferior, where that doesn't really happen with the position players as much. Position players, it's kind of hard not to get at least one of the top 3 or 4 guys in the position there. Pitchers, the last thing I think they want is a guy with a 4.5 ERA making the All-Star game and starting the All-Star team because somebody stuffed the ballot for him. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. More comments here as they keep trickling in. A lot of here goes 64. You're going to freeze Chrissy and Teddy. Jack goes, what's up? What's up, all? Is it hot enough? Oh, yeah, it's a hot one out here. Sierra, again, of the ESB family. What's going on with the Mets right now, Joe? I know we're going to touch on the Mets in a little bit.
Yeah. A lot of things starting to add up. 2 pitchers going down. Bullpen had a little bit of a regression, especially after Minter got hurt. Offense is kind of starting and going. So they're not playing tidy baseball right now. Alvarez got sent down. Acuna got sent down. They're shaking things up a little bit.
Shuffling
so they got to start playing ball, and they got to start playing it this series because they're going to give the Braves life if they continue this. And of course, they don't hit Schwellenbach ever, and Blackburn just threw a pick off when nobody was at the base.
More on the Mets game as they're actively facing the Braves. Game 1 of a 4-game set at City, I believe. I think this is a home series.
Yes,
Randy B in the building. Good to see Randy in here. We got Boogie of the ESB NYY family. Shout out to Boogie. He's doing like fantasy baseball live scoring over there. Hitman, what's good? ESB family. And finally, speaking of ESB NYY's The Bronx Take, Chris goes. Chris, the host of Tuesday's edition of The Space over on X. Tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, which is Eastern time zone of where you live, a Bronx Take will be starting. Make sure you set your timer. Thank you very much, Chris. All right. Before we get into the show, as always, I usually throw it to Tom to touch on Roback, but he's not here. So the closest thing to Tom is the guy actually wearing Roback. That's Joe. Joe, go ahead.
Yes. So you can go over to roback.com. Roback is a great place to find all of your outerwear, golf wear, nice dress shirts, some pullovers, things like that. I have several versions of this. I got a nice 4th of July one that I'm saving. I'm going to break that out for 4th of July week. So you could go over to Roback. You use promo code TWASPL15 for 15% off your first order at roback.com. If you have to, go make a second email or something if you want a second order to count for that as well. Ask your mom or dad or brother to buy something for you. But just great, breathable stuff. We talk about how hot it is. Roback shirts breathe. They are light, airy, and if you are having a hot day like today, there is no better polo that you can put on than a Roback polo. So definitely go check them out. I know we just had Father's Day. They got a whole 4th of July and patriotic collection for make great time if you're going out for the 4th of July. So go over there, check them out, and use promo code TWASP.
And with the way this heat's going, you don't even wear a shirt in this kind of weather. But at least with the breathable technology that Roback provides, you can get away with wearing a shirt and feeling comfortable even on a hot summer day here in the tri-state area. So that is Roback Crave Activity, and our rundown always brought to you by Roback. And for this episode number 130, we're going to kick things off with the Empire Express as always. The Mets are spinning out of control.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's to the point of we're going to see a Joe crash out, much akin to his predecessor, Corey Favs, which he did last month. But we'll get more into the Mets and talk about the Yankees. The Yankees also, again, like the Yankees have not played good baseball for the last few weeks. Luckily, they're on the positive end of a better split, taking 3 out of the last 4 games, but we'll touch more on the Yankees as well in just a few short minutes. We'll take a look at our ESB Fantasy League, see where we're at with the 2K25 league over on ESPN. Then we're going to get into our all-star ballots. We haven't done a lot of all-star stuff yet. And looking at the schedule, we're already like 22 days away from the all-star game, which is ridiculous. And there's going to be a scheduled off week. So we got to kind of get into the all-star stuff as soon as today. And now that the ballots are still out there, we kind of know the wave of where things are going, who's in first, who's in second, what some of the close races are. So we're going to reveal our all-star ballots live on the show later on. And then we're going to finish things off with our game defining moment is today's game. All righty, let's kick things off with those New York Mets, Joe. Start wherever you want to feel. You have all the time in the world. We don't have Tom, we don't have Corey, so go right ahead.
Listen, you're not gonna get a crash out from me because there's still the 4th best record in Major League Baseball by 2 games. So I'm not crashing out. Listen, are there concerns right now? Senga hurt, even though I wasn't a big McGill fan. McGill's better than what Blackburn is. Both of those guys got hurt. They went down. You have Blade Tidwell came up for a spot start against Zach Wheeler the other day. So they're beat up in the pitcher rotation a little bit right now. And listen, the offense is not clicking on all cylinders. Lindor just had a little bit of a slump since he broke his or fractured his toe. He was hitting like about $110 over, a 8-game stretch. That as Lindor goes, so go the Mets. And that's a problem. So aside from the offensive explosion they had in Philadelphia, in which I broke the major league or tied the major league record for solo home runs in a single game. I think it was 7 or 8 of them. Other than that, they've played bad baseball. They're 2-8 in the last 10. They got swept by the Braves in Atlanta, which continues to be a house of horrors for this team. I swear to God, if you're going to get a rant out of me, the one thing is no matter how good the Mets are and how putridly awful the Braves are, there is no Met pitcher that ever walks into Atlanta and puts up a quality start. Whether it's even last year, the game the Mets won, which was one of the best games of the century, to be honest with you. If you're going back to 2001, the best regular season games of the century in that back and forth game 161, they still lost the series 2 out of 3. Yeah. So the Mets never, ever go into Atlanta and play decent baseball. Ever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they had Max Scherzer, Jacob deGrom, and Chris Bassett lined up. It matters not. It doesn't matter if Verlander was pitching. There is never a time that I can remember the Mets going into Atlanta and putting up a serious, contentious fight in Atlanta when the games have any sort of meaning at all. So that's the biggest frustration point with me. Listen, Philadelphia, you lose 2 out of 3 at Philadelphia. The first game was pitched by Wheeler, and you had Tidwell called up to do a spot start. The Mets had a chance to steal that game until the 8th inning, and the bullpen coughed it up. I can't say that I expected to win that game, but you know what? They showed no fight yesterday on Sunday Night Baseball. After a great offensive performance on Saturday, they had a chance to turn around, feel good about themselves, and say, hey, listen, we had a bad series in Atlanta. We took 2 out of 3 from the Philadelphia. They didn't do that, so they only come away with the 1 win. And now they got 4, and the only relief here right now is Sale broke his ribs after he was pitching a shutout against the Mets the other day because he dove for a ball like an idiot.
You also had like a Johan Santana no-hitter type of pitch count, too. Didn't he throw like 117 pitches in that game?
Yeah, it was something ridiculous. He dove for a ball that he shouldn't have dove for. They had a chance to get the out anyway, and he broke his or fractured his rib cage because of it. So listen, the Mets have to split this series. You cannot give the Atlanta Braves life to climb back into it. All right. The Braves right now are still 10 games back of you. Keep them at 10 games back. Okay. But if you get swept by the Braves here and the Braves are all of a sudden 6 games back of you, you've let them right back into this race. and you have a chance to end their season, you got to give me something. All right, if you want to go 5-2 or 2-5 against them, that's better than getting 1-6 or 0-7 against them. So the Mets got to find a couple wins on the board here. They'll get a little reprieve after that, but they do not have a long leash to turn this ship around before people start getting restless. They got Atlanta. They're going to Pittsburgh. The best part about that is they're missing Paul Skeens. Skeens is not pitching for Pittsburgh. Then they got 3 in Milwaukee before they see the Yankees, and then they ended with Baltimore and Kansas City before the All-Star break. So let's get the course corrected. Let's win 2 of these games, and then let's go to Pittsburgh and have a good weekend in Pittsburgh. If we do that, I'm okay. If by Monday we come back to this show, and of the 7 games, the Mets went 2-5, you're going to see an all-time Joe crash out. I guarantee you that. Oh, man.
I mean, that's horrible for you, horrible for the Mets fans, but that's great for ESB and our fans here. I see here that now the Reds have tied the game. LA De La Cruz with a triple, and now that game is tied 1-1 in the 4th inning. I see a missed opportunity looking at this schedule. I'm looking at the probables here, what Atlanta and the Mets have coming up. How do you not have Grant Holmes versus Clay Holmes set up? They're missing each other by a day. How can we not? We could have had the Holmes ball in the middle of this series with the Mets and the Atlanta Braves.
Oh, before we move on, speaking of pitching matchups, before we move on and talk about more Mets and Yankees, can I get a little rant in about the disgusting, absolutely shameful display that the Tigers and the fucking Pirates did last week when Skubal and Steens was scheduled to pitch the same day of a doubleheader and they didn't pitch against each other? Can we talk about how disgrace? And it's the Pirates' fault. All right, it's the Pirates being clever because they wanted to get the win, and the Tigers had a TBD pitch in game 2, so they thought they would get the win with Paul Skeens going. They were right, but that's not the point. They denied the entire sports world, the entire baseball world, a chance to see Skubal and Skeens, probably the 2 best pitchers of baseball right now, go off a mano-a-mano on a Thursday afternoon when nothing is on TV. And everybody's looking for something to do at work because Lord knows we don't do anything at work anymore. So they denied us that, and originally had Skeens scheduled to face Skubal in the day game, and they moved Skeens to the night game at 5:15, or 3-hour difference. What an absolute freaking disgrace that is.
I agree with you. And I almost understand if they were in Pittsburgh, because then you can see it as, all right, it's a 2 games of a doubleheader. Like, we could extend ticket sales by selling the fact that the away pitcher is one of the best in all of baseball in Skubal, and game 2 is Skeens, and that's a full house for 2 games seeing these 2 great pitchers. But they're in Detroit. I mean, that's all on Pittsburgh right there. Come on, guys. How do we not? That's a matchup that you only see on dates like July 15th at the All-Star game. How are we not pulling that off in Detroit while we had those 2 pitchers right?
Yeah. And again, it's not the commissioner's business to tell teams what to do. But I can guarantee you, if I was a commissioner of baseball, I'd call them up and be like, hey, guys, I can't tell you what to do, but come on. What are we doing here? We have the premier pitchers of the sport, right, on the same day pitching, and we can't get them pitching against each other. I know Tom's going to come in here because he just buzzed up, and he disagrees with me. But the fact of the matter is we're in the entertainment business. The fact of the matter is
I'm so happy I got here for this moment. I'm so happy. Joe, you are so wrong.
Oh, come on, Tom.
It's ridiculous.
This was the same thing that the Yankees did a few years ago when they skipped Cole's start when it was going to be Cole and DeGrom on Sunday Night Baseball, and they skipped them to Monday. This is about entertainment.
You can't dictate to a team when their pitchers pitch.
I didn't say dictate, but I can tell you what. If I'm the commissioner, I give him an earful.
And what's that going to do? Who cares? Commissioner can't control that stuff.
We're in the entertainment business. You had a chance to captivate the baseball, the baseball world for a few hours.
No one captivated by Tigers Pirates. Okay, that's also the reality.
And you have the two best pitchers in baseball. Absolutely. Oh, come on, Tom.
No one was being
absolutely.
Oh, come on, Tom. I would have had it on the background of my computer.
You would have had it on the background of your computer.
Well, yeah, I can't sit there with my hand down my pants watching with a beer in my hand in the middle of the workday.
What the hell? What are we turning the show into? Tom's already causing chaos. Joe's got his hand down his pants. We've got 74 people.
You know what I mean? I can't sit on the couch scratching
what the hell's happening around here.
Watching the game at 1 o'clock on a Thursday. But you know what? I could have it on the background of my computer. I could draw interest. I could have the game cast on.
So you want to be able to follow the game cast.
The point is they had a chance to draw interest with a premier pitching matchup, and the Pirates balked on it, a team that's 16 and a half games back and have no shot at making the postseason. And because they thought they could get the easy win with Skeens going the second game, they did.
What if Skeens has better splits in night games versus day games?
It was a 5 o'clock game, Tom.
What if Skeens prefers the pitch to later game?
Oh, come on. Oh, then you tell him, Skeens, you got to pitch against Scooble. Let's go. Let's see which one.
Why can't Scooble pitch later?
Because they're the home team.
So, okay.
And
your argument is a house of cards.
Tom, I'll tell you exactly why. Because the Tigers had a TBD pitcher and they ended up with a bullpen game the second game. So you don't pitch your ace after the bullpen game. You pitch your ace before the bullpen game so he can eat as much innings and leave the rest of the guys fresh for the second game.
Joe, are you okay with Major League Baseball juicing baseballs for like Sunday Night Baseball and Apple TV games? Is that okay?
No, that's not okay. But we have
But it's entertainment. But Joe, it's entertainment. We're here to entertain people, and home runs entertain people.
No, come on, that's not the same thing, Tom.
It's not the same. It is not. It's not the same thing.
Yes, it is. It's not the same thing. The Chiefs don't sit Mahomes. Tom, the Chiefs don't sit Patrick Mahomes when he plays Josh Allen.
Well, yeah, but you can't compare football to baseball.
But Tom, they were scheduled for the same day.
Welcome to Empire State of Bad Comparisons.
Same day, Thomas.
Oh my God. Okay.
Listen,
it's not about the Pirates.
Teams.
Forget the Pirates.
Also, no one cares. Also, watch that game anyway.
It's Empire State of Baseball. We're here for the Mets and Yankees. Well, we'll touch more on it. And by the way, for those folks keeping score at home, the Tigers won game one. The Pirates won game two of that doubleheader last week. All righty. Well, we got LI here. I'm turning off the Yankees game to watch that game, but not the way Joe is going to watch that game. But Joe, leave that to privacy, not ESB, but it's 2025. No one judges you. Why did I even start reading that?
Why did you bring that comment?
I don't even know. But Joe, anything else you want to get off on the Mets before we turn it over to the Yankee side of the house? You tapped out?
The only positive of this weekend is that there were more bombs dropped in Philly than Iran. So that was the only thing that was positive from Saturday.
Okay, there you go.
I don't know if that math checks out.
Good Lord. Krista goes, it's Father's Day, not Father's Day. Okay, got it. All righty. Let's switch over to the New York Yankees side of business here, Thomas. Now, for the Yankees, I understand right now, taking 3 out of 4, after this weekend, you feel pretty good about the team. Maybe it's heading back to the right direction. But I had to highlight the fact that they're still in the midst of their worst stretch of the entire year. 10-12 over their last 22 games. Now, I mean, that's if you're losing games, I think this is still kind of treading water here by even just being 10-22. The Yankees still in first place in the American League East going into today, 2.5 games over Tampa Bay, which has really become a very weird AL East now that Rafael Devers is no longer a Boston Red Sox. The Orioles have cemented themselves as a bad team. The Jays and Rays have life, but the Yankees still holding on here and still leading the American League in big offensive categories. But Thomas, there's got to be, you got to get back to this winning series again, kind of rebuild what they had prior to this 16 game stretch. And I think more importantly, I'm just rooting for that off day. The Yankees need a day off, and they're not getting down until Thursday when we look at the schedule. But what's your feeling on this team thus far?
I brought the point up a couple weeks ago. I think it was actually right before we were concerned potentially of the Mets or the Yankees kind of going through some skid. Mm-hmm. I still think both teams are good teams, and good teams go through losing streaks and they go through tough times. I think the Yankees are a good team. They're a lot better than they've been over the last 22 games. They're better than a 500 or just below 500 team. They weren't things weren't clicking. The same way with things aren't clicking for the Mets right now. They seem to have these situations where they're getting great pitching, no hitting, or they're getting no hitting and great pitching. I might have said the same thing twice there. I don't know, but you all know what I'm trying to say. Yeah, sure, whatever. It's frustrating. It's frustrating because it seems like when the Yankees go through, especially offensive slumps, it seems like everyone slumps together. It's not just like, oh, Bellinger and Goldie aren't hitting, but like, oh, but Judge and Jazz are hitting. So like we're trying to switch the lineup up. It seems like when they're off, they're all off. And I don't know if it's something with their scouting reports. I don't know if it's something with their game plan or their approach. Because also when they get a guy, they get him. They get him good usually. So it seems like that's been a situation we've been living in for years now. I think I brought up on the show a few times. It seems like they have an approach, and when that approach works, or if they have a tell on a pitcher, they expose them and they put up a ton of runs. And when their intel is bad or they have the wrong approach, they seem like they can't make adjustments. They're just they almost get no hit, or they don't put up runs, but they didn't score a run at the end of last week. At the beginning of this week, it was like 3.5 consecutive games they didn't score a run. Like
nothing.
What is that? That's I don't think that's just bad luck. I think it's something their approach could be off at times. So
I gotta bring this up here just because it makes me laugh. Jacob goes Judges at 28 now, Rich. Jacob, if you squint your eyes and you see at the bottom of this slide, it says as of 6/22/2025. That was yesterday. Unfortunately, I can't do live slides on the show. I'm sorry, Jacob. It was 27 going to today. Now it's 28 after Judge.
Like 10 minutes.
I will make that disclaimer now. My apologies to you, sir. Sorry about that.
I don't think you are sorry. I don't think you should be sorry.
I don't think I should be sorry, but yes. Anyway, so Judge, so it was 28th home run. The Yankees are trailing in that game currently. It's 4-1 since 3-1 since 3-1 Cincinnati.
The Yankees are also pitching something called a Winans.
Winans. That tells you a lot about it. That tells me a lot about your fanhood there. Winans was called up today because Yarbrough went down on the IL over the weekend, so they need at least a spot start out of Winans, who actually looked great in AAA thus far this year. Kind of kicked around the bigs with the Atlanta Braves. .90 ERA in AAA Scranton. But not having the best of outings right now against Cincinnati here. All righty, let's flip over to the Yankee schedule and what they got coming up. And obviously we're currently in progress against the Reds. 2 more games there. That finally that off day on Thursday, and then they play the Athletics. I made a note earlier today, and this is kind of going a little bit off script today. I made a note on the Bronx take, looking at the A's and who they're sending up against the Yankees. Well, look at the names here. Mitch Spence, J.P. Sears, Luis Severino, all former Yankee farmhands. And it really made me think, Thomas, back on trades that the Yankees have had over the last few years, moving on from pitchers in blockbuster deals. I think for a farm system that gets a lot of crap from fans outside the organization, even fans within the organization, I think the Yankees do a good job in replenishing pieces they lose that could eventually make the rotation, and it doesn't hurt them down the line. I mean, the only pitcher I can remember that the Yankees have fully developed and they sent elsewhere and was completely dominant is Michael King, but Michael King brought you back Juan Soto for the year. So, I mean, I wanted to bring that note up to you if that was something you kind of noticed as well. The Yankees kind of do a pretty good job with replenishing pitching and not really losing so much gravitas in pitchers that they move on to other teams.
Yeah, they've done a really good job of not necessarily generating aces and developing aces, but developing really good, number 3 starters. Another one who left and at least had really good success immediately, has fallen off, got hurt since, was Jordan Montgomery. Same kind of deal. He was really he was very good once the Yankees traded him away. But yeah, they seem to be able to kind of continuously create those guys, and we have it right now with Clark Schmidt, who's been pitching above a 3, frankly, for a long time now. After Rich and I really got in his ear and let him know he wasn't living up to expectations. Will Warren as well. They've done a good job of developing those guys, and developing aces is hard, right? There's only so many aces in baseball. It's not like every team has an ace. A lot of teams don't have one. So I don't think the Yankees should be criticized necessarily for that. But yeah, they just keep kind of pumping out these, middle of the rotation, solid guys who can have some peaks and look good, and they can trade them and then go out and get, pieces that they need. And right. that's something you need to do. If you look at, we talk a lot about how the Dodgers have been like a model team in baseball. Dodgers are constantly shipping out prospects for MLB players. Mm-hmm. I think that is the model that these high spending teams should follow. And hopefully they keep doing it. I hope we'll have a trade deadline show in a couple weeks, and I'll be trading everyone on the farm to get people that's going to help this team this year, because who knows what those guys will turn into.
And we'll be talking about over the next few weeks. We'll start churning in some mock trades, piss off some fan bases of teams that are clearly going to be selling. And it's funny too, because I don't know, Joe, if you play the same game as being a Mets fan, knowing that your team's going to be a buyer within the next few weeks. I'm internally playing the game of watching teams that are kind of middle of the pack to drop off, because I'm looking at certain players that my team can target. Well, one of those teams might have lost a player for a good chunk of time that could have been a target for not only just our team, but your team. Eugenio Suarez just left the game early from the Diamondbacks, getting hit by a pitch. Third baseman, could be an all.
Let's not jump to he's really hurt, because he's on like all my fantasy teams, and I really don't want that.
So same here, Tom.
I'm just saying. Let's just say maybe bone bruise. Give him a day. He's going to be fine. Let's not freak out.
Hands are tough. Listen, I mean, that's a trade target.
You hit the hand all the time.
I think both teams at this particular point would be interested in. I think we're monitoring the Diamondback situation. Gallen's pitched awful this year. Burns is hurt. Now Corbin Carroll's going for an MRI on his hand or wrist. So the Diamondbacks could be firmly in the sellers category by this time, by the end of the month, which is the next 7 days. So I think that's a team to monitor who you can get. They're going to keep the core intact. They're going to keep Carroll and Perdomo and Marte. They're going to keep those guys intact. But Suarez, even Gallen, if somebody thinks that they can figure out what's going on with Gallen, maybe put him into a more pitcher-friendly ballpark. Mm-hmm. They're going to move those guys. So you're right. Suarez, I actually think fits the Yankees a little bit better than he fits the Mets. I think he would be perfect in that Yankee lineup. I think he would add some protection for Judge, which I think the Yankees need. I think they could shuffle the deck a little bit differently. But we'll see. We'll see what that injury is. Maybe it's a bruise. Maybe it's a break. Who knows? So
it does sound like he finished the at bat and then removed himself before taking the field is what ESPN Fantasy Baseball told me. So
yeah, I mean,
who knows? It's we'll see. Guys get hit on the hand all the time. I know there's a lot of little bones in your hands. You could break them very easily, but he also could just have a bruise, and I don't think it's something worth freaking out about. Jacob, sure, they're gonna handle him. He's a valuable trade piece. He's not a game-changing trade piece. They're not gonna literally put him in a bubble for the next 3 weeks. He's a good player.
He's still a rental though.
He's got 45 home runs.
I get it. But
he's a rental.
But we don't typically. But Joe, we also don't typically see teams trade top 3 prospects in the midseason deadline, because most likely the people who are moving are guys that you're only going to have for 2 months.
I don't know if there's a guy available with as much power as he is.
You're sure, but look what
you're probably right. But yeah, absolutely, you're probably right.
And remember, when you get to playoff time, power can be the difference between winning and losing. So I feel like a lot of people, if he is available, I feel like a lot of teams, the Mets could certainly use him. The Yankees could certainly use him. The one team I actually don't think, Philadelphia might use him if they want to move on from Bohm. The Braves would be the only team I don't think is interested in him from the East.
I'm not saying he's not good. I'm just like, he's not going to cost a haul. Is my point.
Right.
He's going to cost a mid.
No, he's going to cost you a good
George
product.
Jr.
You're not right, but you know what? He might cost you Spencer Jones.
I don't think he would cost a Spencer Jones.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think. First of all, I don't think the league is high on Spencer Jones.
Well, Spencer Jones, actually, before you say that, I don't know if you noticed, but he was just named the Eastern League Player of the Week by Minor League Baseball. He's coming off one of his best stretches. He's leading the league now in home runs. And what I said earlier, you sell high on him now while he's in this good stretch. I don't believe
I agree. He's still got a 40%
buy him for a second. I would say you sell him high now while his stock is relatively high.
Trust me, I'm going to put him in all kinds of trades when we do that trade deadline show. I think he's has more of a value than a Suarez rental price tag is.
Yeah, absolutely. But we'll monitor it. And you might be right about the Suarez thing being the most power guy, but I also have to see more teams kind of drop out of the buyer's trend and more towards the sellers. The problem is we have too many playoff teams nowadays that the trade deadline being in the end of July is a little too early, and this thing should have been pushed to at least mid-August. So there are going to be teams out there that really shouldn't be buying. And look at the situation last year. The Tigers sold. They moved on from Flaherty, and yet the Tigers were a game away from making it to the American League Championship Series. So whole other conversation for another time, but let's keep moving forward. We got to talk about the Fantasy League, touch on that real quick. But before we do that, I'm going to throw it over to Tom to talk about Instagram. What's going on with the gram there, Tom?
Let's talk Instagram. Let's talk about our 7,100 followers. And if you are not following us on Instagram, we would love you to help grow that 7,100. You can check out highlights of the show, clips from the show, but more importantly, our dear friend Corey, who is just having the time of his life.
Love that
honeymoon right now. Just cooking up the reels. He has this really fun series going right now. Rich is seen a ghost apparently.
David, heat wave is going on in the tri-state area. The light's been flickering a couple of times now, so I'm starting to get a little worried.
I got you. But no, yeah. So Corey has this really fun series going on the Instagram right now, where he's spinning a wheel of all the countries in the world, picking a player from each one, as long as they have major league players or ties to major league players, and seeing if he can build a World Series team. I think today he picked Ukraine, and you learn stuff. I learned that Evan Longoria's like a core Ukrainian.
Mom, I think, is Ukraine. Yeah.
So it was
not Eva.
No,
just
so you're learning a little bit about some guys, their heritage. I think it's cool. It's a really fun series. Mo's on the team, Ichiro's on the team, Longoria's on the team, got some other guys as well. So I think he's doing well. It's fun. Again, check us out, Empire State of Baseball, on our Instagram to follow that series and everything else we got cooked up over there.
And with the global unrest going on, it would be pretty awkward if we choose those two countries back to back. But we'll see what happens when on the wheel by Corey Favs over the next few weeks. So let's get into the Fantasy Baseball League for the most awkward transition in pod history. And let's take a look at what we got going on for our standings. And look at Free Ipe still in third place. Tom, I thought you had the confidence to crack that number one spot by the next time we were going to do this. That doesn't seem to be the case. Joe, right in the middle of the pack, number one Yankee hater, if you're following along. And I'm down there at the number 8 spot. But I'm making my way. I was at 10th like the last time we did this. And now I'm up to 8. So we're actually trying to pay attention now and make some moves here. Tom,
listen, Joe might be in 5th, but there is a chasm between me and him. It's really a top 4 team league right now. You can see with the total points. Corey was right when he said Roto is an absolute grind. It is. Once things kind of get locked, it's very hard to make progress. I've been having some guys. Walker Bueller's been getting lit up occasionally in Boston, which is really hurting my ERA. I need my ERA and my WHIP, my Ks per 9 to improve. I got some good starters, but yeah, it seems like once a week I have a guy just go 3 innings and give up 8 runs, and it just ruins my ERA. But listen, we're in it. We're trying to catch Core. We need Core to fall off. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun though.
You also need Core back here in general. But go ahead, Joe. What do you got?
I'm creeping up. I was in 6th for a very long time. Now I'm in 5th. I'm 1 home run away and 1 stolen base away from increasing 2 more point totals. So I'm very close. I lead the league in ERA by an absolute mile. My team ERA is 2.86, and the next highest is next lowest is 3.13. So I lead that by a mile. I have the highest.
We might have to talk, Joe, because let me tell you, if there's one thing free eBay does is we hit dingers.
Listen,
with Mr. Raleigh, Mr. Olson, Mr. Wood, of course, Mr. Ohtani. We hit bombs. So
one thing I need, I'm inching up in OPS. My OPS was at 0.71 for the longest time. I'm up to 729. So I'm inching up there. So I got improvement coming in a couple categories that could get me inching closer into the top 4. But my pitching staff's as good as it comes. I got Wheeler, DeGrom, Sale just went on the IL, and Paul Skeens. I mean, that is a rotation with the best of them.
I gotta say, the least valuable player on Bet's MGM is me. I'm the reason why we're not doing well. And if I told you the team on paper is very good, the problem is I don't pay attention, and I don't put guys in the lineup, and I don't put probables into start. And if I did more of that, I'd probably be making my way up. But I think at this point, it's a foregone conclusion. I think the best I could do probably is get to maybe the middle of the pack to get the 5th. But I ain't winning this league. But I wanted to ask this question. I proposed this on our Instagram preview earlier. Is there an under-the-radar player on your team, whether it was a player you drafted, a player you picked up, traded for, doesn't matter. Is there an under-the-radar player on your team, could be a non-all-star for all we know, that's really been a solid contributor towards your fantasy team this year? Tom, Joe, if anybody wants to start.
Yeah, I picked him up. I went with a risky move, and that was Byron Buxton. And Buxton's been phenomenal for me. 17 home runs, 13 stolen bases, a 920 OPS. He had his brief stint on the IL, but he's played the majority of games. He's played 60 games. So overall, I'm very happy with the fact that I took the shot on him, because he's been a really good player. And listen, in real life, he could be a trade candidate. Somebody might buy what he's been doing this year and say, you know what, I'll take the risk for the last 3 years of his contract and say, you know what, if when he's healthy, he's a good ball player. He's never healthy, never. But when he is healthy, he's a really good ball player.
He could be the most talented ball player moved by the midseason deadline if the team really wants to take a shot. Yeah. So Byron Buxton, great pick. He's looking like he's going to be an all-star, possibly a starter for the American League. Yeah. I know we're going to get more into that in a few minutes. Tom, how about you? Under the radar player.
So not necessarily under the radar, because he's been going to be an all-star this year, but I picked up Chris Bubik from KC. I checked. I picked him up as a free agent like the first week of the season, and he's been one of the best pitchers in the AL, and he'll be an all-star most likely. So he's been really good. He's been one of the guys I can count on not giving up 14 earned runs like Zach Eflin's dumbass.
Oh God, why? Holden, that's a streamer at best, Zach Eflin. Lord.
Yeah, I don't. He went through a stretch where he was just like pumping out quality starts, and he's given up 13 runs over his last 8 innings. So that's not been good.
I would say my guy Booby's going to the All-Star game. He's had a great year this year. Byron Buxton as well. The guy I'm going to go with here, though, I don't know if he's going to have enough to get into an All-Star game, just because he started off the year on the injured list. And I shockingly was able to scoop him up late in the draft. Actually scooped him up I don't know what the 194th overall pick evaluates to. But Ranger Suarez from the Philadelphia Phillies. Ranger Suarez is being activated from the IL, 6-1, 52 Ks, 2.20 ERA, 1.05 whip. I'm looking at, he's been consistently getting into the 6th inning with each of his starts. So he's been a very solid contributor to my team. Again, probably not going to have enough to be an all-star this year for the National League, but an under the radar pick for my team there. That's probably going to finish towards the bottom third anyway in the ESB league. So there you go. Shout out to me. All righty. Well, that's it for your wrap up here for the ESB Fantasy Baseball. We'll check in another month and see where we're at with that before we get into the trade deadline. But let's touch on YouTube. And with YouTube is Joe Pugliese. Go ahead, you.
Oh, it's me again. Okay, we are live on Instagram and X, but YouTube is our preferred platform. Why? Because we can interact with you live on the show. So go over to YouTube, hit that like button, share, and subscribe. It's free to subscribe. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're at 467 followers. We kind of hit a pause here. We're trying to get to 500. Guys, we get to 500, we do a giveaway. And with only 500 subscribers, you got a good chance to win. So make sure you come and subscribe, get your brother or your sister or whatever. Just tell them to subscribe. They won't get that many notifications from us. We only go live once a week. So go over there, make sure you're subscribed, and we're going to do a giveaway of 500.
Yeah, we're not that annoying. Joe is, but we as a collective unit is not an annoying bunch. But yeah, no, definitely appreciate that. And honestly, if we follow the same criteria that we did at the last giveaway, if you're coming in usually every week, you have a very good chance of winning a prize. So definitely let's get those sub numbers up, pass the word along about ESB. Got a lot of cool stuff happening, especially I love this time of the year too, because we're going to get into All-Stars shortly. We got the All-Star game, Home Run Derby, a lot of fun. There's going to be some fun segments planned throughout the summer, the trade deadline when we do our mock trades. So a lot of cool content coming out for the next couple of months. So you definitely want to subscribe and tune in for our ESB stuff, especially the live shows, because that's where we put in the most amount of our work here. All righty, let's get into the All-Star game. Emanating this year from Truist Park, only 22 days away, as our Empire Express graphics had thrown out before. But today, I wanted to go around the room here, and even including Corey Favs, I'll speak on Corey's behalf, and talk about the All-Star ballots. And Joe, you and I had an exchange earlier today about like the fact that they don't include starting pitchers as an all-star ballot. So we're going to stick to how MLB.com has it presented. It's just going to be the offensive players. So since he's not here, I will speak on Corey's behalf and run through his ballot, and we'll just go one by one here. And in Corey's all-star ballot, really just want to pick apart the guys that, kind of stuck out to me here. So on the National League side, he's got Pete Alonso, Ketel Marte, Manny Machado, Francisco Lindor. Have a feeling that's probably going to be the majority of the infield throughout here, but we'll go through it. Now, I tell you what, guys, I had the toughest time figuring out the National League outfield. The National League outfield, you could have probably felt good with any combination of about 8 different candidates for the NL vote. In Corey's case, he goes Corbin Carroll, Pete Crow Armstrong, and James Wood here. Loaded outfield right there. Catcher, he's got a Colorado Rocky, Hunter Goodman, who's been quite a quiet surprise for Colorado. That's the player I really wanted to call out here, guys, for the National League on the catcher side of things. And you look at the National League catchers, there's one big name that sticks out, and I'm sure we're going to get into him shortly. But Hunter Goodman, 284 batting average, 14 homers, 48 RBIs, and 842 OPS certainly plays. I'm not sure if he's a rookie or not, because if that's the case, I mean, this is a guy who should be up there for Rookie of the Year for 2025. I'd have to look. But Hunter Goodman is his pick on the catcher side. He's got Shohei as a DH. We flip over to the American League. A lot of Tigers representation. Spencer Torkelson, Gleyber Torres, Riley Green representing Corey's side there. Jose Ramirez at third. You got the young Josh Wilson, who's got that insane batting average at shortstop. The aforementioned Byron Buxton, of course, Aaron Judge and Cal Raleigh, and Brent Rooker in the American League designated hitter spots. Joe, when you look at your fellow Mets fan, Corey Favs' ballot here, and that's not Corey Favs' ballot, that's still the fantasy standings. There we go. Anything stick out to you here out of his group? No, we lost Joe.
Joe is frozen.
Joe is frozen.
I don't know how he can be frozen when it's 100 degrees out, but Joe has found a way. You talked a little bit about Goodman out there, the good man out there in Colorado, having a nice year. Listen, I respect trying to get other guys in. And something was very funny to Rich there.
Yeah, Joe's frozen face was hilarious. His eyes were just like,
but listen, pull it up. I'm sure at least a few of us have Will Smith as the starting catcher. He's just been better. I get it, trying to highlight guys, and hopefully Goodman comes in as a reserve, as the backup catcher and see some time because it's a good season he's having, but he isn't having as good of a season as Will Smith really by any measurable number.
Right.
So, but hey, good story. And I liked out the All-Star game. I always like with the All-Star game. I try to do a little bit on my team as well. You got the big stars, right? You got your Manny Machados, you got your Aaron Judges, you got Jose Ramirez, Pete Alonso, Shohei Ohtani. And then I love seeing, not just the up-and-comers, the PCAs and the James Woods of the world, but the Jacob Wilsons, right? Getting him in there and seeing these other guys who are just having good seasons. And, hey, they get to share the field in this showcase with the best of the best because they have been the best of the best so far this year. And I always like that. I like, it's cool when you have like these all-time teams that just like everyone is like a future Hall of Famer. But, hey, Jacob Wilson, good for you, man. Like maybe you'll be a future Hall of Famer. Maybe this is the one year that you're having a career year and you could say you were an all-star and you were, on the field, the left side of the infield with Jose Ramirez. So that's cool.
Shortstop is the deepest infield position in all of baseball. I mean, there are so many guys when you look up and down in both leagues that are just having great seasons. And again, you can't have every shortstop in the American League and National League side. Jacob Wilson, I think is a lot to be an all-star, whether it's a starter or on the bench. Absolutely. But there are a lot of young shortstops in the game. While Bobby Witt Jr. and Gunnar Henderson, Gunnar started to work his way back to what Gunnar Henderson is. While they're not maybe having the most spectacular year, and Bobby Witt still having a great season in himself, you've seen guys like Zach Neto and JP Crawford even step in and have pretty under the radar. There's the line of the day. Under the radar seasons. It's really deepening the position of shortstop all around. And it's kind of like a reminder. And trust me, there's not a lot of players to the level of the shortstops we saw in those 2000s where we were talking Derek Jeter, Nomar Garciaparra, A-Rod when he was still at Texas, Carlos Guillen, Miguel Tejada. But, slowly but surely, baseball's worked themselves back into that where shortstops become a deep position altogether. Tom, let's take a look at your ballots while Joe is still in limbo here and see what you got cooked up for us.
Let's see what I got cooked up here. Yeah, so a lot of the same guys. We'll start with the NL. Alonso, Marte, Machado. Yes, same. I do have Elly De La Cruz starting a shortstop. I think Lindor. I think he's had a better season than Lindor has had. I think Lindor should be an all-star, but I think Elly De La Cruz is also just so damn electric, and I want to see him starting in the all-star game. Outfield, again, I also have PCA and James Wood. I also went with Kyle Tucker. Like you said, the NL outfield was really just stacked. There were so many good options out there. It was hard to really choose bad, undeserving players. But I went with PCA James Wood and future Yankee Kyle Tucker. Over in the AL, I put Goldschmidt at first. I know he's cooled off a little bit since his hot start. The AL first base is a little thin. I know we have what's the name, Aranda, or wherever the hell that guy is in Tampa, who's had a good year.
Pretty good year.
He has been having a good year. I'll take Goldschmidt also with the the defense, the base running. He's kind of throwing in there. Former Yankee, Gleyber Torres at second. He's having a really good year as well. And you can hate him all you want, but we were always pretty pro Gleyber here, even though he frustrated us. He's had a really good year. He's starting second baseman for my team. Jose Ramirez, obviously. Also Jacob Wilson, like Corey had. Riley Green, also Corey Judge, obviously. And then I put Stephen Kwan out there because I just think what he does is so unique. He's basically like Stephen Kwan is I think when Luis Arraez goes to bed, he puts on Stephen Kwan, PJs, because Stephen Kwan is just like a better version than a Luis Arraez because he also plays defense and he also runs. And yeah, he is such a fun player. And just kind of, I wanted to get him in that outfield, get a picture with him and Judge next to each other. That'd be really fun. Cal Raleigh again, obviously. And then I do have Brent Rooker as my starting DH.
Joe, any comments for on Tom's ballot here?
I mean, I know Tom's a Yankee homer. You can't have Goldschmidt over Aranda. Aranda has a 30-point higher batting average, a 60-point higher on base percentage for the same home runs and more RBIs than Goldschmidt. You got to be fair. Ronda deserves the first base, and not that we don't have an argument. Torkelson has an argument too because he's having a rebound season. He's got the most home runs from the first base position. The first base position in the AL is weak. I understand that they don't have a guy like Alonso or Olsen.
It's a thin position. It's not. No one really stands out that I would say.
But for having the same power production, Aranda leads Goldschmidt in every category. So I can't not have Gold. I can't put Aranda out with Goldschmidt in.
I mean,
Goldschmidt's a better defender. Goldschmidt's a better base runner.
What'd you say, Rich?
Put that in.
A lot of disrespect for the guy that you both didn't vote for there, but I'll get to mine shortly. Joe, let's get to your selections and take a look at what you had.
Yeah. So NL, Alonso's been an MVP candidate. Marte, I did put Suarez over Machado. And not that Machado isn't having a great year. He's batting close to 300, but Suarez got 25 home runs. Machado has 10. I can't justify Machado getting the slot when a guy has 15 more home runs than him, and a close enough a slash line that. So that was my opinion on that. Lindor. I mean, I know Ellie's had a good season, but can we also admit that Lindor's been robbed the last couple of years? Lindor needs to make an all-star team. He needs to start the all-star team. A, he deserves it. And B, he got robbed because Orlando Arcia and Redo Perdomo made it over him the last 2 years, which was just a joke.
Hey, you could trade Perdomo for Lindor nowadays, what I heard.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Outfield in the NL is just an absolute crowded. Crow Armstrong's a definite. Woods having a phenomenal season. Corbin Carroll was on there, but if you look, Corbin Carroll had an awful May. Like his April was phenomenal. It was an MVP candidate. He was batting 210 in May. So I put Pages over him as a starter. I think Carroll should be there. But I did put Pages. Listen, I threw it to Goodman. Smith obviously and Goodman are the two catchers. I threw it to Goodman because he's got a little bit better power numbers. And listen, the Rockies need something here. I think
a reserve player like they typically get.
No, but Goodman's played well enough to be considered a starter. And he does have better power numbers than Smith, even though Smith is batting like 330. So that was a tough one. Ohtani's obvious. And if you go to the AL, Aranda, I had a tough time between Lowe and Lau and Glaber. I went with Lau. Lau has like 15, 16 home runs. So he's got double what Glaber has. So I gave him the nod there. Ramirez is obvious. Listen, I was crossed between Wilson and Pena. Pena's come on really strong of late. He's been phenomenal. It's really hard to judge which one I want. Judge is obvious. Buxton, like we covered before, rebound year. Think he deserves it. Riley Green's been phenomenal. I think he deserves it as well.
You're welcome.
I think they're all going to be on the All-Star team. And then Raleigh and Rooker, I think we're common sense. So that's my team there.
I mean, again, barring what's going, I mean, Suarez, I think, regardless of what type of injury this is, he's an all-star.
Yeah.
He's deserved it, whether he's going to get the starting nod or not. Honestly, I don't really see a player in this list that doesn't deserve to at least make the game. Pages was an interesting one. And I know Pages is having a good year. It's just thinking about the outfield choices that are out there. You're putting Pages over Corbin Carroll. You're putting Pages over Kyle Tucker. You're putting Pages over Fernando Tatis Jr. I mean, that's quite the uplift for Pages to go from what Dodgers fans who I was talking to the beginning of the year who weren't feeling Pages as a starting outfielder could possibly be starting the National League All-Star game is crazy.
I mean, 292, 16 home runs, 52 RBIs. That's hard from a guy playing center field. That's really good. You know what I mean? Like, And I know Crow Armstrong's going to be the center fielder because Crow Armstrong covers everything. But that's a really good line for Pages. And maybe I give him a little bit too much credit over Carroll. Carroll's been probably the better player.
Kyle Tucker's also been better than Pages.
I didn't think Kyle's. Let me look up.
Kyle, I have it up. He has one less homer. He does have
285, 15 home runs.
He has
46
RBIs, 12 more stolen bases.
Yeah, his on base
better on base, better OPS plus. He's better. Again, I was saying when you were in there freaking out. I love seeing guys like Pages make the All-Star team. I think you got to reward those guys. I just think and he's just not having as good a year as Kyle Tucker's having. Same with like your catcher. Like, I don't understand how you guys could put Goodman over Will Smith. Will Smith's just been better in every category.
So I really liked the 3 ballots I saw because I think there was a good reward for what these guys have done in the first half, and that's typically what the All-Star game should be. And I mean, you absolutely have to merit those great seasons. But I feel like you two are going to hate my ballot because my ballot, yes, it still is going to cherish those, but it's the All-Star game. I need stars in this baby. And even if it's not some of the more popular names that probably don't deserve it, and again, no disrespect to a guy like Jacob Wilson as I pull up my ballot now, but I need some star power, baby, on one night. Even if these guys don't necessarily deserve to be in it, I think the guys I put in will still make it. They probably will not be the starters. And if we're just going just straight stats, yes, I think there are better first base stat numbers than Vladimir Guerrero. But Vladimir Guerrero, compared to the rest of the course here, Guerrero's still doing a job. He's hitting. He's got 10 home runs, 39 ribbies, 279 average, and 825 OPS. It still plays. It's still good enough to get you there to be one of Toronto's representatives. Yeah, I believe so. Absolutely. But I want star power, baby. So I'm going Vladdy. I got Gleyber. I tried to get Altuve in there. Altuve's just not having a good year. So Gleyber's in there at second base. We got Jose Ramirez at third. I took Bobby Witt and his 288 batting average, and I put him at shortstop. Again, no disrespect to Jacob Wilson. Jacob Wilson just started his career. He's going to have plenty of opportunity to grab that starting shortstop role, and I'm happy to see him at Truist Park fill in middle of the game for a guy like Bobby Witt, who's just a little bit more established right now. Also, we have here, and I don't know why my screen just went away. Here we go. We also have here Byron Buxton. We have Riley Green. We have Aaron Judge. So very similar to the outfield that you guys have seen. Cal Raleigh, of course, absolute stud. Went Brett Rooker there. The American League DH, we didn't make a comment. The American League DH, right now, the lead vote getter is Ryan O'Hearn. So you're probably not going to get star power, and that's probably, Rooker's probably the best star because Yordan Alvarez right now, he's been hurt. He hasn't been Yordan since he's gotten back. Ben Rice is in second place in the voting right now for the American League designated hitter as we speak.
I mean, guys,
first 6 weeks of the season, he was the best DH. He's not anymore.
No,
he does not deserve to be in the top 3. I don't even think he deserves to be the Yankees representative.
Soto did hit a 2-run homer just a few minutes ago. So
there you go. So
3-2 Soto,
but not good enough to make my National League All-Star ballot. I got the same infield alignment that we've seen: Pete, Marte, Machado, Lindor. Outfield, I went Crow Armstrong and Wood. Those two stat base. I mean, there's a lot of glazing right now happening with PCA and guys like James Wood. I'm going to feed into that. Unfortunately, listen, it's one night. I want to see all stars take the field. I want to see the best iteration of the American League versus the best iteration of the National League, regardless of who might be the best stat bearer in certain positions going into July 15th. So hate it, love it, like it. I don't give a fuck. I want the ultimate stars at the All-Star game on July 15th.
Rich, here's the deal. Either you're doing a really terrible bit and you're a terrible actor because you don't believe anything that you just said, or you're an idiot.
I believe everything I say. I believe in everything.
Because there's no way you believe
it. You can't have Tatis in the All-Star game. I mean, let's be fair.
Absolutely can have Tatis at the All-Star game.
No, come on. There's about 5 outfielders better than him.
Rich, we need to
he's a great defender. Offensive player-wise, Tatis is not as good as people like to glaze him.
You gotta be fair. Because this was embarrassing.
I said there was going to be glazing involved, and I warned you, you guys are going to hate this ballot. But this is
because
what
you
I
don't
wanted to
believe
do.
anything you just said.
The NBA, and this
I
is
believe this ballot.
And this
you are
between
so
that
full of
and the
shit.
ballot stuff, and this is how Lindor didn't make the All-Star game the last 3 years. All right, when he deserved to make the
Lindor
All-Star
should have
game.
made the All-Star game the last 3 years, though.
Oh, it was a joke that he did, and then you got Tom booting him from the starting spot. So
I mean, listen, you could. Are you going to tell me Ellie De La Cruz is not a worthy starter in the All-Star game?
he's not as good as Lindor.
He's having as good of a season as Francisco Lindor is.
And again, Lindor is.
I said Lindor, and I said that's not what this is about. I said Lindor deserves to be an All-Star. I didn't say he's barred from the team. I said I think Ellie should start. I think Lindor should be an All-Star, and he should just come in the fifth inning.
Yeah, as I mentioned, Jacob, no, you can't vote on starting pitchers for the All-Star ballot, which I think is ridiculous. I think you should be able to vote on the starting pitcher for each. And if that pitcher can't go, then the manager just has to readjust who's going to go that day. I don't know why they never allowed it. So
maybe we'll get the Scoobel-Skeens matchup that we wanted all along.
Max Fried deserves that spot.
Not if Pittsburgh has anything.
Oh, no. Come on, Tom. Scooble's better pitcher than Max Fried.
More on
he might be a better pitcher, he's having a better season.
More on that.
Have you checked it? Have you checked on Scooble's ERA lately?
Oh boy.
Have you checked on Max Fried's ERA?
I know what Max Fried's ERA is.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Scooble's a better pitcher.
He may or may not be. He is a better pitcher right now than
and Scooble's got a complete game shutout. And he leads the league in FIP. He leads the league in WHIP.
Hey, don't
strikeouts per 9, strikeouts per walk. I understand.
You can't use a single game performance as a reason to put somebody. I agree with you. I think Scooble should still be the American League All-Star starter. But
Fried does have a better. Fried does have a better ERA.
By 0.01, Tom. By 0.01. What is that? 1 out?
Sure.
Come on.
It's an important out.
Max is playing over his head. Any guesses on who said that? This guy right here. All right. Let's talk X real quick. Make sure to follow us at ESB Podcast. That's the main page. That's the parent account. Give our subsidiaries a follow at ESBNYM, at ESBNYY, individually at Corey Favs. Send Corey Favs some love. Why don't we send some messages Corey Favs' way while he's out there celebrating his honeymoon? Fantastic, past few weeks for Corey Favs. Corey Favs, give him a follow at Corey Favs on X. Give me a follow at Rich J. Rivera, Joe at JR Pugs, Tom at T Wospil. Give my whole crew a follow over at A Bronx Take. And while you're doing that, make sure to check out A Bronx Take, which goes live on X Monday through Friday, scattered times throughout the week. And then we go live in a few minutes for extra innings after today's show. But we're going to end each show with a game typically. And tonight is no different. We look at our standings. Joe is in the lead at 13. Corey Favs at 12. Still at the top despite being gone for now 2 weeks here. We'll see if he falls a little further today. I'm in third, and then Tom slowly creeping up towards the top here. Tom, you're like the AJ Styles Undertaker meme right now. Just showed up out of nowhere, and you're right back into the mix when, for weeks you didn't even have a point up there.
I'm just waiting for the core curriculum. I'm waiting for core to come back. Core curriculum is where I feast.
Listen, I gave you guys a layup last week, and
Joe, I've explained this to you before on the show, and I'll explain it to you again. Yankee fans don't give a shit about the Mets. I don't care what trades happened.
It was literally the answer to another question earlier in the season,
which is a Yankee moment.
No one cares.
He's got the biggest Yankee moment of
Yankee fans. Do not care about what happens to the Mets.
You know what?
We don't. You guys follow what the Yankees do. That's why you have an advantage in this game. I don't care. I couldn't care about how.
Between 2010 and 2020, Castillo dropping the pop-up might be one of the most important things that happens in the
all right, definitely not. But I mean, listen, I don't care.
I'm gonna start the clock now because StreamYard's going all haywired on me right now. So we're gonna get started on that early and get this thing going. Will the clock work? It did work. Okay, fantastic. Joe, let's look at your trivia question for today's game, which is defining moment. Let's take a look.
Yep. Okay, so May 28th, 2013, in his Subway Series debut, this player allowed 1 run and struck out 10 batters in 8 innings against the New York Yankees. However, the Yankees pitcher would respond by striking out 7 over 7 shutout innings. In the 9th inning, Mariano's farewell was actually spoiled. He would allow a walk-off single to this player after giving up 3 hits and not recording an out. I also had tickets to this game, and I did not go to it.
That's a great part of the trivia there, Joe.
Is it
so
the
Joe and I
ground?
had
No, it's not DeGrom.
It's not the ground.
All right, Joe. I know you and I had a conversation.
DeGrom made his MLB debut against the Yankees, though, right?
I believe he did. Yes.
So, Joe, I know you and I had an earlier conversation. I won't be taking a stab at the walk-off because I know who got the walk-off, but I do not know the first 2. So I will be taking a stab at those 2.
Yep.
So I'm going to take a guess at the Yankees pitcher. And 2013, I'm going to say CC.
No.
Okay.
Subway Series debut, not Major League debut.
Subway Series debut. Not. That's a good call out.
2013, that's definitely pre-DeGrom. DeGrom would be a little later, right? 2015-ish era. 2014. Actually, it's probably close to that time frame, right?
I'm still sitting on the Yankee pitcher that struck out 7 over 7 innings before I even move on to a Mets guy.
I did not realize this Yankee pitcher was on this team at this time.
Is it Michael Pineda?
No.
I have a guess for this. Probably want to get 3 guesses. That's a problem, right?
I know 3 guesses for.
So I feel like I like my Yankee guess, but like I don't know.
I'll throw it out before I throw my next one out there.
There's a story behind this, guys.
Oh.
No, I feel like it's not.
Oh! I can't wait to hear the story for that. Oh yeah, that's a good one, especially if the wife is commenting here. Who is the Yankees player?
You didn't think
2013 was such a bad year for this team. They had a bunch of crap.
We have no right guesses in chat.
No right guesses in the chat either.
No right.
You know what? I'm going to take a stab at the Mets player. I'm going to change it up.
Okay.
I'm going to go Matt Harvey.
It is Matt Harvey.
Oh,
okay. It is Matt Harvey.
Matt Harvey.
Yep.
My guess for the Yankees was going to be Tanaka. I'm just going to stick with it.
No.
I think Tanaka.
Close.
Tanaka came aboard.
Close in which way, Joe?
I'm going to leave that up to you guys.
Hiroki Kuroda.
It is Hiroki Kuroda.
Good guess. Yes. All right. Well, I can't take a guess at the last one because I do know the answer already.
Okay.
So Tom, it's all you. Tom, you have only one catch.
I was reading Joe's facial expression where I said, "What do you mean by close?" And it felt good.
I gave that one away.
Let's take a look at the chat.
Okay. He gave up a walk-off single. God. Do we get any kind of hint for this player?
No correct guess in the chat thus far.
Yeah. We need some kind of hint for this player, Joe.
He's a fairly well-known Met of the 20.
I was gonna say, so on a scale from 1 to 10, how notable of a Met is he?
I'd say 5.
Okay. You would know who he is.
You know who he is. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go with Ike Davis.
No, close.
Lucas Duda?
Close.
Lucas Duda.
Damn it. If I had one more guess, you said close, I would have gotten it again.
And Corey said David Wright. David Wright actually was the guy who was driven in by Duda when Duda hit that walk-off single.
Damn.
So, Joe, you said there was a story here. Well, I pulled the video. Go ahead.
Funny story was I had just started my internship in New York at the New York Stock Exchange, ironically. And we got tickets to this. I had been dating my now wife at the time for a few weeks, and we had gotten tickets. This game was delayed due to rain. So this game was supposed to start at 7:00, and it didn't start till 8:30. So we had like 5 people going, and everybody backed out. And then my wife backed out. My girlfriend, who ended up being my wife, backed out at the last minute because it would have just been us going together, and we'd only been dating a week or two, so that was a lot. And I was upset because Harvey wanted to pitch against the Yankees. He grew up a Yankee fan. And what Harvey proceeded to do, he struck out 10 Yankees. Of course, this game ended around midnight. So,
and there you have it. And there's the walk-off by Duda in a rare
Ichiro
to Mariano in the ninth inning here.
Ichiro throw. Rick Ankiel
out there. Yeah. Again, that 2013 Yankees was just a random squad of aging veterans. They had players on the mend. I believe this was the year. I think Jeter was out this entire season. So it was just it was a weird year for Mariano and the rest of the squad there.
The Mets actually had a tribute to Mariano that day.
Right.
And they played the tribute because it was his last ride and they ended up spoiling that tribute. So
there you go. Yeah, there you go. ESP poolside. This kid Corey's sick. Go enjoy your honeymoon. Don't worry about these three ugly mugs up here. All right, let's go to.
He's hanging out by the pool. Corey, I messaged you this separately, but just load up on that Maui Brewing Company, that coconut porter, delicious. The bikini, the blonde bikini lager, also delightful by the pool. Just enjoy yourself, bud.
There you go. Wise words from a wise man. All right, Yankees version of a defining moment here. Thomas, be leaning on you for this one, but we'll see what Joe knows about this guy. June 23rd, 2022. Yes, 3 years ago today in the ninth inning, this player took the mound for the Houston Astros, looking to close out a 6-3 game. However, the New York Yankees would mount the comeback, highlighted by a game-tying 3-run home run from this Yankees player to even the score at 6-6. Later in the inning, Aaron Judge would walk it off with a single, scoring this player.
Ryan Presley, Aaron Hicks.
Yes, correct and correct.
Jesus Christ.
And
let's go with DJ LeMahieu.
Incorrect.
Undercut Tom.
Yeah,
who
scored
DJ.
the run?
I didn't want to make Judge the final one, so I wanted to go with who he brought home for the win. But yes, Ryan Presley and Aaron Hicks. That's two great pulls right there.
Let's see. This is a good game. It's a good
one of the two finest moments of Aaron Hicks' Yankees career. Maybe three at best.
Yankees also owned Ryan Presley.
Who did Aaron Judge bring home?
Who did he bring home?
Walk off win.
Let's think logically about this.
Bottom of the order.
Yeah, that's where we're going.
Trevino.
That is correct.
Oh wow!
Correct.
Jose, I was gonna guess
on the order. Catcher, right?
I was trying to play multiple games with this. If you guys notice the theme here, obviously went with the game that happened to the date, but also look who's playing for the Cincinnati Reds tonight against the New York Yankees. Jose Trevino.
That's also why he's fresh in my mind.
I was gonna say Glaber, but
so there you go. So 2 points for Tom. 1 point for Joe on that game. And as we've done, let's take a look at those two specific highlights right there. Let's start with again one of Aaron Hicks's very few great Yankees highlights.
This is all-time bat flip,
pimp job, all-time pimp job right there by Aaron Hicks.
That was such a good game. That whole series, I remember it was a 4-game series. That also might be the series the Yankees got combined no hit. I think at one point.
And I think also this is the series, Tom, where they really start to turn their luck against Houston in their head-to-head matchups.
I think they win a game
after all the. Yeah, I think this is after all the BS. Oh no, I'm sorry, it was still 22. So no, not really, because the Astros went in and swept the Yankees in the ALCS that year. But Aaron Hicks, one of his few great Yankee spots right there. And then again, while we're at it, and we're not going to go to a State Farm commercial because that would be bad. But we are going to take a look at the walk-off that ended it there, and we'll bring the big man Aaron Judge up to the plate.
And he has certainly handled center stage
again,
very well.
We got volume here, so I don't know what's going on.
You're going to get
copyright. There is Aaron Judge, and look, it's a New York Met on the mound. Ryan Stanek giving up the walk-off hit, and here comes Jose Trevino to the plate, and the Yankees win 7-6 against the Astros 3 years ago today. And that is your defining moment. So again, big points day for Tom. He picked up 3 big time points
They also had they had a walk-off in the Sunday night game. There was a 4-game set. Sunday night game, they had a walk-off also. That was who hit the home? Did Stanton hit a walk-off homer against them?
Oh, they got no hit the Saturday of that series. That's
correct. I told you they got combined no hit in that series. It was we were doing the show at that point. I don't know if it was this show, if it was
no, I think it was still the show. We were actually in season 1 of ESB at the time in 2022. Yeah, that was it. We weren't in Savage in the Bronx. We were done with that. All righty, we're done here. That's it for Defining Moment. And that is it for Empire State of Baseball number 130. Make sure to check out number 131 next week. We got kind of a weird schedule over the next few weeks. We'll keep you guys updated as we go along. But next
Aaron Judge is a walk-off. Duh.
There you go. Next week's show will not be on Monday. Tom and I have some full-time duties. We have to assess little quarter end, little year end business on Monday. So Monday we're taking the day off. So Tuesday we'll be back for the next edition of Empire State of Baseball. Same time, same place, 8 p.m. next Tuesday. We'll be back for another edition of the New York Strike Exchange. But that's it. Let's go around the room, wrap this thing up. We'll start with you, Joe. Go to Tom, and then I got this thing for the close. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, Mets trail 3-2 heading into the bottom of the 8th. So the Mets have a chance to squeak one out here and really set the series up for themselves going forward.
There you go, Tom.
Yankees down 4-1 going. They're in the bottom of the 7th, so let's see them make a comeback here. But again, you can't expect a lot when you're starting something called a Weavins or Weebles or whoever started.
Winans.
Sure. Don't care.
The disrespect.
Trade him for a third baseman.
Extra innings coming up.
I don't know if that's going to happen, but extra innings is coming up in short order. We'll see you next Monday, Tuesday, Monday. No, it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. We'll see you next Tuesday.